Hello and thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to be doing a discussion video. We're going to be talking about Heart of Thorns and the hype surrounding Heart of Thorns. Not long to go. It is rapidly approaching and this is going to be Guild Wars 2's first expansion. I did a video talking about how this expansion is bigger than anything ArenaNet have ever done before. And I wanted to elaborate and talk about things that are coming into Guild Wars 2 with Heart of Thorns. We are getting masteries, we are getting sort of new elite specializations, guild halls coming in, all the guild functions, World versus World is getting a new Borderland map, PvP are getting leagues. It's a huge amount of features. And as someone pointed out to me, content-wise, they might not be as big as previous expansions with their Guild Wars 1 franchise, things like factions, things like Nightfall and Eye of the North, even the sort of Winds of Change and the Civil War in Kryta, which was their whole moving from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2 and looking at the events going through, which was given to us as in-game content for free. It's hard to see, for example, that amount of content in Heart of Thorns. However, we haven't played Heart of Thorns. We don't know how. We know that roughly there's going to be around 4 maps. They are pretty big maps. They're huge in scale. If you take a map in Guild Wars 2 right now, take Fireheart Rise, it's very horizontal. There is an up and down. I'd like to ask, what do you guys think is the most vertical map in the core of Guild Wars 2? That's not including Drytop or the Silver Wastes. I would say it might be something like Lorna's Pass. Maybe you could even consider somewhere in Ore with the massive height drops and difference. But generally, you don't get to see much variation in level that you're actually playing on. We really got to see the scope of that in the Silver Wastes. When we were playing on, when they revealed the Silver Wastes, we were like, oh wow, this is going to be cool. This is quite a flat map. It's got some sort of little mountains and stuff. And then we saw the jumping puzzle, and we saw the jumping puzzle which goes deep, deep down. And boy, is this a deep map. And we were at the top. We were, the very top of the maps. We're playing on that. So if you imagine a cube, like sort of a cube of the map, we're actually on the very top level. It's not very little that can actually get higher than us. But down, it was massive. We are talking a huge map compared to the previous maps developed. And that is what we're going to be seeing with, Verdant Brink, the very first map we've actually been introduced to. We're getting the 3 layers. We're getting the canopy. We're getting the ground layer. Then we're getting the roots. And we've got so much to explore. I think it is kind of 3 maps rolled into one, where you're seeing that level, the different levels, and it's sort of around the whole map, sort of map exploration. So, alright, you might not get 20 different maps that you might get in other expansions. That is a bit of a disappointment. I'll admit I'm disappointed that they only developed 4 maps. As long as ArenaNet say, okay, with the Living World Season 3, that we're going to bring in new maps as well, like they did with Salson Cove, like they did with Drytop, like they did with the Silver Wastes. They can bring those maps or versions of those maps, other maps into Guild Wars 2 after Heart of Thorns. So don't be too disheartened if there's only 4 maps. They will probably bring more in during the rest of the campaign. But let's talk about what else is exciting about Heart of Thorns. Obviously, we've had the big elite specializations, new ways to play your character, masteries, the ability to go after legendaries, changes to fractals of the mists. Obviously, it's the end game for dungeons, which really are looking pretty dire right now. There's no love going into dungeons right now. Maybe we're going to get some more collections that gives people more incentive to work for items. How about seeing particular I'd like to see new collections for existing weapons. Like all the destroyer weapons, or the for example, we have Jormag's defense guide, which allows us to collect all corrupted weapons. Why don't we have the same for the destroyer weapons, for example? I'd like to see just weapon collections for other things. So that's a few things that they have the opportunity to develop. But generally, when I first heard about Heart of Thorns and I heard the price, it was disappointing. It was a lot of money for a lot of people were saying very limited content. Okay, that content is obviously story type environment. I haven't even mentioned raids and the ability of the story that people can get in raids. But generally, I do hope that the personal story that we're going to be able to play is going to be a long personal story. Think back to when you first played the personal story, how long it took you. You know, I did a video where I managed to do the personal story in 9 hours, and that was taking my time over it. The personal story right now can be done, I'd say, in 6 hours. If you get level insta level 80, ascended gear, you can do the personal story in 6 hours. It's pretty tame, and you know, we've done it a long time. So the difference is the Heart of Thorns personal story, it's all level 80, which means it should be all challenging personal story content. Let's hope that we get that with Heart of Thorns. So I do see where people say content, it's very limited, but you know, feature-wise, this is more than we've ever had in any expansion. You know, Nightfall in Guild Wars 1 gave us the ability to use heroes instead of henchmen, but they didn't bring in hard mode with any of those. They limited changes to guild halls and PvP, whereas this is a huge expansion for Guild Wars 2. I'd be interested to hear, you know, what are you guys excited about? I always ask people, what are you excited to play in Heart of Thorns? I'm excited for the story. You know, that is my big thing. I love playing Guild Wars 2 story. I'm excited for PvP leagues. I'm excited for raids. I'm excited for mastery points, being able to craft a precursor. I'm excited for the different specializations, being able to play a Reaper, being able to play a Chronomancer. There is a lot of good things coming into Heart of Thorns. A lot of people still say it's not going to be worth the money. I can see their points. You know, if they believe in the content and they believe that they want more maps and they want to explore, then maybe they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll wait and see. So for those of you who have bought the pre-purchased Heart of Thorns, you're in the same bandwagon I am. I'm really excited about it. And let's hope that Heart of Thorns lives up to our expectations or even exceeds our expectations. Let's hope the personal story, and I think having seen the betas, the ability that our character speaks is incredible. I'm already excited about the personal story. Let's hope that the ending of the personal story is better than we got in the original Guild Wars 2. I've been Mike the Mighty. Thanks for watching my video. Please feel free to comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.